Pav Bhaji, a street food that originated in Mumbai but is now very popular all over India. This is what I am cooking in Poonam's kitchen today. The combo Pav Bhaji comprises of a thick, colorful, buttery, potato-based curry called bhaji. Its texture and its color is so very appealing. Bhaji is served with a soft bread called pav. Today's recipe is for bhaji, the way Mumbai food stalls wala cook this. This is a must-try recipe, and believe me, you make it once and you will be hooked to it forever. Let's start with what all I'll need to make pav bhaji. 2 cups of chopped onions, 5 medium-sized bright red tomatoes. It's important to make sure that the tomatoes render a nice color to the bhaji. So pick a good variety with nice color. Here I have boiled potatoes. Somehow they are a mixed size. I would say they are an equivalent of 7 medium-sized potatoes. Here I have a cauliflower, carrot and capsicum. You may also add cabbage or colored bell peppers. 1.5 tablespoon ginger garlic paste. Green peas, 2 tablespoons. You may choose fresh green peas or the frozen variety. I'm taking frozen ones here. From amongst the spices, Kashmiri lal mirch. This is very important. This is what renders a nice color to the gravy. Red chili powder, coriander powder and salt. Pav bhaji masala, 1.5 tablespoons. Now this is the main spice for the bhaji. Without this, the bhaji doesn't get its typical flavor. 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm using salted butter. Then for garnishing, cilantro, spring onions and lemon. And some water to cook the bhaji. The beauty of today's recipe is that if you have your onions and ginger garlic paste ready and your potatoes are already boiled, then you can chop all the veggies while the cooking has already started. This saves a lot of prep time. As you can see, I haven't even peeled the potatoes as of now. If you're cooking for a huge crowd, then you may boil cauliflower, carrot, green peas ahead of time. You can boil these in the pressure cooker for say 1 to 2 whistles. If you're cooking for say 8 to 10 servings, then you can always leave the chopping and the boiling of the veggies for later and start off with the cooking. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'll set a pan to heat at medium. The pan is now warm. I'll transfer a tablespoon of butter to the pan and allow this to melt. I've reduced the heat to low. As compared to other oils, butter has a low smoke point, which means that butter will start smoking as the heat would be increased. So it's best to melt butter at a low heat to prevent it from burning. As the butter melts, I'll transfer the ginger garlic paste and mix it in. I'll saute this for a few seconds just to lose the raw flavor of garlic, not really turning it brown. Just a few seconds. I'll transfer the onions now and mix these in. I'll increase the heat to medium. I'm not going to turn the onions to brown. The gravy is not going to be brown. I want these to be a nice shade of pink. I'll spread the onions in a single layer. As I always say, fry or roast in a single layer for maximum exposure to heat. I'll cover this with a lid to fasten the process. And while the onions are sauteing, I'll chop the carrot. Carrot takes the longest to soften, so this goes first. I'll chop this into thin slices so that they soften faster. I'll also keep tossing the onions. Each time I toss it, I'll spread it in a single layer. The carrots are now ready. See, thin slices. The onions are also now ready. I don't really want them to be brown. I'll now transfer the carrots. Give this a mix. Now I want to soften these carrots, so I'll add a tablespoon of water. Give this a stir. I'll again cover this with a lid, and while the carrots soften, I'll cut the cauliflower. I'll chop this into small florets, something like this, and in between I'll keep tossing also. I can't leave this unattended. Again cover it with the lid. The cauliflower is also chopped. This would be around 4 tablespoons. It's been 2 minutes. I'll check on the carrots. They are now a little tender. Right now I need this to be partially cooked because carrots are going to get cooked with the other veggies also. I'll now toss in the chopped cauliflower. I'll mix these in. To soften the cauliflower, I'll now add another tablespoon of water. Mix in the water, stir, and again cover with the lid. And while this gets partially cooked, I'll chop the capsicum. This would take around 2 to 3 minutes. The capsicum is also done. I'll take a look at the pan. Always remember to keep tossing this as well. Can't leave this unattended. I'll now transfer the capsicum and mix it in. So I'm essentially adding the veggies in the order of the time they take to cook. The one that takes the longest time goes in first. So decreasing order of their cooking time. I'll add in a tablespoon of water for the capsicum and cover this with a lid. Now this is something very similar to what the Mumbai stallwalas do. They cook their veggies in installments. Keep adding the veggies, keep cooking them till they are ready to be mashed. I'm using that cooking time to do the chopping as well. This saves a lot of prep time. Let's take a look at the pan. It's been a minute. The veggies would now be a little more tender. Yes. I'll add the green peas, and along with this I'll also add half teaspoon of salt. This salt right now is just enough for these veggies. I'll toss this in. The salt will tenderize the veggies faster. I'll add another tablespoon of water, mix it in, and cover the pan with the lid and allow this to cook a little more. And in the meantime, I'll chop the tomatoes. And after every few seconds, I'll keep tossing this as well. Here I got the chopped tomatoes. By volume, they are around 3.5 cups. The veggies would now be a little more tender. And now I need to rectify a mistake that I made. I missed something very, very important. I'll correct that now. I'm putting all these veggies aside. I'll transfer a little butter here in the center and allow this to melt. I put the veggies aside so that no water creeps in. And as the butter melts, I'll add a heaped teaspoon of Kashmiri Lal Mirch. That is the Degi Mirch. Now this has to saute in the butter. I don't want any water creeping in from the sides. This step has to be done when you have sauteed the onions before adding any of the veggies, because the veggies will bring their moisture. I'll now saute this chili in the butter and mix it with the veggies, and instantly you'll see the color of the veggies change. I'll now slightly mash these veggies before adding the tomatoes. I'll use a potato masher for this. Now I'm not going to crush these veggies completely, because these veggies will be mashed when I'm doing the tomatoes or when I'm doing the potatoes. So these will be mashed in several stages. If I were to mash this completely right now, then by the time all the cooking is complete, it will become a paste. And that is not the texture of bhaji. In bhaji, you should be able to see very, very tiny pieces of the veggies, very tiny pieces. I'll now transfer the chopped tomatoes. Just look at the lovely color of the tomatoes. That's how you want them to be. I'll give these a mix. I'll add half teaspoon salt for the tomatoes now. Give these a mix. And now the tomatoes will take around 4 to 5 minutes to cook. I'll add 2 tablespoons of water for the tomatoes. Mix it in and cover this with a lid. And while the tomatoes cook, I'll peel the potatoes. When you boil these potatoes, make sure that you do not boil them too much, and also cool them a little before you put them in the bhaji. Else the bhaji can become very pasty. Let's take a look at the tomatoes. They are all now very soft, and look at the lovely color. Such a bright red shade. Just looking at this is so pleasing. Thanks to the Kashmiri lal mirch and the nice color of the tomatoes, I got this beautiful color. I'll now again mash this a little. Now, how does the recipe change when you're cooking for a huge crowd? As I suggested, you could boil a few veggies ahead of time. In that case, you add all those boiled veggies at the time when I added the chopped carrots. And then proceed with the recipe just like I did, adding salt, adding tomatoes. Now, right now this one is mashed. I'll add the potatoes. I'll just crush these in my hands because finally I have to mash them with the rest of the veggies as well. I'll now add the spices. I'll add 3/4 teaspoon salt. I'll adjust the salt later after adding the salted butter as well. 1/3 teaspoon red chili powder. Now this chili powder is a little hot, and the pav bhaji masala will bring about its own heat and spice level to the bhaji. So hold on to the red chili for now. A heaped teaspoon of coriander powder and 1.5 tablespoon of pav bhaji masala. I'll mix all of this. I could have actually taken a bigger pan. Now all the veggies are already cooked and the potatoes are already boiled. So I just need some blending in. I'll add 3/4 cups of water. Just need a little blending and the correct consistency. Mix everything. Do not add too much water in one go, because in the effort to reduce the quantity of water, the veggies become mushy and the whole thing becomes very pasty. We can always adjust the consistency later. I'll cover this with the lid and allow everything to blend in. This should take around 4 to 5 minutes. The heat is at medium. In the meantime, I'll prepare the cilantro leaves and spring onions for the garnishing. It's been 5 minutes. This looks good. I'll now mash the potatoes. This would now be a sort of a final mash. Now when you're mashing this, you'll realize that apparently what is on the top seems mashed, but if you toss it over, the ones at the bottom are bigger pieces. So keep tossing and keep mashing for an even consistency. The bhaji is now all mashed. I'll now add the rest of the butter. This is an essential ingredient for the bhaji. This is what gives the bhaji its creamy texture. You don't really enjoy bhaji if there is no butter or if there is less butter. I'll allow the butter to melt and blend in. I also need to adjust the consistency. This is a little too thick, and since potato has a starch, it will thicken further when kept on the kitchen shelf. I'll add a little more water, not too much, about 2 tablespoons of water. Mix this in, let it all blend in. I'll cover this with the lid and cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. This would be the final cooking, and then I'll check for the salt and the spices. It's been 3 minutes and the bhaji now seems to be done. This looks like just the right consistency. As you can see, very tiny bits. You can't really make out what veggie, but then little color from each veggie. This is a closer look. I added another 3/4 teaspoon salt to this. Adjust the salt according to your taste. I added a handful of chopped cilantro leaves. I'll switch off the heat. This consistency is perfect if you're eating bhaji right away. If you have to eat bhaji after some time, then leave the bhaji a little more liquidy at this stage. Or else, at the time of serving, you can add some boiled water and adjust the consistency at that time. Now we are ready to eat this right now, so I'll prep the paos, for which I'll set a tawa to heat at medium. As the tawa warms up, I'll transfer some butter to it. Little butter, allow it to melt at low heat, and transfer a little bit of red chili powder. Now this is completely optional. If you don't want red chili, you can skip it. Fry the chili powder at low heat and it will render its color to the butter. Just be careful not to burn it. Here I have the pav. I'll smear some butter on the pav. like this. I have slit each pav in 2 pieces, and this butter is good for a total of 2 pavs, so a total of 4 pieces here. I'll fry these on both the sides, just a few seconds on the other side, and these are ready to be served. For a platter of pav bhaji, I'll transfer some bhaji to a serving bowl. I'll add chopped cilantro leaves and chopped spring onions. The bowl of bhaji is ready. Serve bhaji with the fried pavs and a lemon wedge and sliced onions. The lemon juice takes bhaji to the next level, so I will highly recommend this. So here you have a platter of pav bhaji ready. This bhaji can be enjoyed not only with the authentic pav, but also with sliced bread, burger buns and dinner rolls. Do make pav bhaji for your friends and family and share your feedback. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you liked my recipe. If you liked it, do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Poonam's Kitchen on YouTube. A click on my picture on the screen will take you to Poonam's Kitchen on YouTube. The written recipe for pav bhaji is shared on my blog, the link to which is given in the description of the video. Do check it out. Thanks once again. See you again with a new recipe very soon. Till then, bye.